Hi, this is Hallicrafters Rehabs. Welcome back. And my dad's doing well. He is having some dizzy spells, which is related to actually hypotension, low blood pressure. And so we're working with that. Solution to that is to get him to drink more fluids every time he says, "I'm dizzy, have another sip, Dad." And so he drinks more. And to get him some electrolytes, which we're putting in his smoothie. So hopefully that will do as best as anybody can do for that situation. So still could not get the B plus to resistance check properly. And by the way, I'd forgotten to do it. I did check, document the audio output transformer, and it's not a Hallicrafters original, so that information has got an asterisk beside it. But anyway, I finally traced it, I hope, back to the 50 kilohertz mixer oscillator box. So this is out now for the third time. And I found this resistor, which I thought I had checked out with, it was open. It's a 100,000 ohm resistor. At least it's open now. And there was actually a solder short back down in here. So I reworked it, and hopefully that will take care of the issues, but you won't know until it's back in the set again. And this time, for the third time open, I remembered to actually document those two chokes and the T9, which is the oscillator coil. And so that is in there. The reason why I do this is really for posterity. People will, if they ever had to replace a component, and these things get older and older, you get an idea of what the parameters are for a coil. At least the potential is there to wind another one or to do something. If you know what was in the original design, what the performance measurement was supposed to be in terms of microhenries or ohms and things like that. In fact, there's someone on the Hallicrafters radios group who's working a later version. I think it's a 117, SX-117, which has 50 kilohertz IF coils in it. So it's probably a dual conversion. I haven't looked at that design at all. But these are 50.5. I don't know if you could substitute them or not, but at least these have, there was an open, one of the between the center tap and one of the ends, it was open in that coil, as he was complaining about, asking for a replacement part. But if you have numbers like this available to you, then you're sitting there trying to restore this radio 10 years from now, and you can look on the whatever 10 years from now looks like in terms of interest groups. And you'll see that someone actually documented this. That's one of the purposes of doing this on YouTube. The other one, of course, is for me to learn. And the third is to get another radio working in top-notch condition. So that's where I'm at. We'll once again reattach this into the box. I'm going to do that tomorrow. Got a church meeting tonight, so I have to get ready for that. But thankfully, I hope, I've isolated the issue inside of here, and we'll see. And we'll get back to this tomorrow. Success, success, success. Time for a celebration. This is okay. This was okay. I had miswired. It's very easy to do. The noise limiter, there is a lead from the switch to the noise limiter that I misplaced and sent it to ground. Also had a redundant capacitor in there. But this row here, I must have been really tired that day or whatever. It should be in the range of 350 or so ohms, right on the money, B plus to ground. So, time for a cup of tea and some cheese. And we'll get back and put it all back together. It just took line item by line item, lug by lug, lead by lead, test by test, until I finally found that I had miswired this noise limiter. Success. Celebration. Well, I had been checking and correcting and reworking and checking for almost 3 days now. Not solid, but especially yesterday, it was just all day long. And chasing my tail and discovering things and fixing things and reworking things and so forth. This one had a missing jumper in the selectivity switch. Really clever there. And a missing ground, and that was causing problems. I found 2 unsoldered connections in the operating. It still worked, okay? This one definitely is going to need some time and attention later when this one's up and running. And let's see what all, I don't know what all. This box has been out now, I think 5 times, but I think it's back in for the last time. This is the power switch. Oh, I've got it backwards. This is the band switch. I've had it upside down so long I've forgotten which side to switch. This is the on-off switch, and it's working nicely. And here's the selectivity switch, volume control working good. I cleaned these with thanks to Mr. Carlson's lab. Hey, this is a super contact cleaner I'm using instead of in the deoxit gold. Seemed to work very well. I can control it a little better with the low setting and get less on the inside. It's got a low setting there and get less inside there. You don't have a lot less cleanup. Doesn't seem to soak the phenols quite as much, the wafer switches. And then in the controls, I'm using, thanks to Mr. Carlson's lab, WD-40 gel lubricant. It actually makes a little foam and then dries to a real nice lubricated switch. Now I don't put it on the switch contacts. I put it on the things that are, like the bearings and stuff like that on these wafer switches, and it helped this power switch immeasurably. It still kind of catches a little bit, but it's a lot more. It doesn't hang anymore. You can't see what I'm doing here. That's the power switch there. So it's doing good. So we're ready to do ohm measurements, and first thing I noticed is I had V1 and V3 backwards in the table. So we're starting with V1. So what I'm going to do, this is with the measurements that were in the I don't think you can see it, but the measurements that were in the operating one are already written here, and we're going to compare with this one over here. I actually have a blank one over here. Now some are measured against ground and some are measured against to pin 2 of the B+. And otherwise you don't get realistic readings and things. B+ it's not at ground, thankfully. So I'm going to go through, it's just as simple as going through each pin. Going through, there we are, with the probe, each tube pin, and measuring it. And I'll do that off camera, and we'll see how things go. Okay, so this is how it checked out, pretty close to what it needs to be everywhere. Looks like there's a couple of issues, possibly the heater is loose or something like this on this on one tube. V6, not sure. And then we'll need to check this crystal calibrated tube. There was no measurement coming up on pin 2, and also no measurement on the 6C4 up here. So once those are resolved, this will be ready for voltage testing. So that's the next step is to get those resolutions done. So now it's time to pay attention to the cover, because it's going to need to be in place for our electrical testing, powered up testing. Double-sided tape. Very interesting. I don't know how they got it off in the first place. I've never seen this detached from a set before. That'll clean up. I don't know where that oil came from, but we're going to have to smooth that out a little bit. Maybe I'll put some Bondo or something that they use for cars, where I had to drill for a solid day to get that out. This will be cleaned up with toothpaste. Let me wipe that off. That's awful. Imagine that will come off with alcohol. Maybe it's my stuff for trying to get that knob. Oh, it's WD-40, I bet, trying to get these knobs off. Cleans up pretty good though, doesn't it? But we're going to have to paint it. Let's see what we got on the other side. I'm thinking about gunmetal. And the backside has rust. So, let's see. Perfectly sized to take this off. I saw where somebody has parted out an SX-100 on the auction site. Thus far I haven't needed anything. I hate to see that. I think it would be better to restore it than to part it out, unless there's a transformer or something. Maybe it's not worth it to them. Okay. These come out simply, but carefully. We'll just clean these with a damp cloth, because that's barely in there. It's been a few decades since that's been roasted. There we go. Just a little touch and then it comes out. And these rubber things I'll probably save. They work out. They are far better than substitutes. It'd be good to get all that smoking stuff off. Nice and careful. Slow. Interference with things. There we go. Slide it that way, and then it comes out. Alright, go to the other side. Just slide it this way, and it clears the light brackets. The rubber just sort of sticks. Don't like the sound, do you? All right. They don't bother to burnish the glass too. Cut yourself real easy. Ever so easy. There we are. I wonder if there was some glue put in there. I've got it. Alright, save these. And don't get paint on them. I might find a substitute for that. Okay, so that is pretty easily prepped. October 11th p.m. I guess that'll be covered up. We'll just damp cloth clean that off a little bit. And this should come up, I hope, with alcohol. If not, we'll be doing, let's get the mess off the back here, something else. But we'll get this prepped up. Got to work on that and this, and I don't think I'll strip it, but because of this, I don't think we should do it. And it's already rubbed in there. You just don't want to do any more than what you've got. So I'm putting Bondo in layers and then sanding it down. And we'll just keep working that several layers, sanding it down till that's smooth. Meanwhile, it's tube testorama. I go through my inventory of tubes and pick the best ones for the radio. First one, the 6CB6 was great, all three in my inventory, so I just picked one. And it'll go like that until all the tubes are in the set. Meanwhile, it's tube test-orama. I'd go through my inventory of tubes and pick the best ones for the radio. First one, the 6CB6 was great, all three in my inventory, so I just picked one. And it'll go like that until all the tubes are in the set. Okay, so I finished testing what I could. Did find one of the, this is a, I think it's a 6, gotta look at it. Yeah, 6AU6. That is a mixer tube, and it was flat bad shorted, and that was in the set, the Mark I. So that receiver, no matter what other condition it may have had, would have been stone silent with that tube in it. Also, when I did all those resistance measurements with the get the 1B against the 1, Mark I, there were a lot of resistances out of tolerances in the operating SX-100. And those resistances, I mean, you knew, and the new one, common resistance measurement is 100K here and there and everywhere. And you'd see 180, 130, 140 and stuff like that, K on that Mark 1B. So there's a lot of resistors in there that have gone out of spec and need to be replaced. That's going to be about as much work electronically as this one, except it will be just one-for-one swap out. So I don't think I'll have to do any capacitors other than to get the foil in the right direction. So I'm finishing up the painting of this faceplate. I have that silver part removed, of course, and taped over, and then we're going to let that dry for a few days. My son Lewis is in from California. I'll see him Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So that'll be my activity. I won't be seeing my dad this week, but we'll get back onto it after that. This is Hallicrafters Rehabs, and thanks for watching. Thanks for the new subscribers.